Good evening. This is All India Radio. I'm Lalema Aneja Dang, and with me is Vaibhav J. Srivastav with the evening news. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi speaks with Russian President Vladimir Putin over telephone. Exchange ideas to further bilateral trade in agricultural goods, fertilizers and pharma products. Monsoon session of Parliament to begin on the 18th of this month. Two-day BJP executive meeting to begin tomorrow in Hyderabad to focus on strengthening the party, especially in the southern states. Special session of Maharashtra State Legislative Assembly rescheduled to be held on the 3rd and 4th of July. Government stresses on the need to prepare roadmap for pharmacopoeia sector, focusing on global market. Afghanistan, Ghana, Nepal and Mauritius accept Indian pharmacopoeia as a book of standards. Centre grants financial assistance of 5 lakh rupees to 35 families of journalists under the Journalist Welfare Scheme. Defence Research and Development Organization successfully carries out maiden flight of autonomous flying wing technology demonstrator from Aeronautical Test Range at Chitradurg in Karnataka. World-famous Rath Yatra of Lord Jagannath begins in Puri, Odisha. President, Vice President and Prime Minister greet people on the occasion. In women's cricket, India Eves defeats Sri Lanka by 4 wickets in first ODI of the 3-match series at Pallekele International Stadium. And in men's cricket, India dig deep to restore their innings after top-order batting collapse in rescheduled 5th Test match at Birmingham. Prime Minister Narendra Modi today had a telephonic conversation with Russian President Vladimir Putin. They exchanged ideas on how bilateral trade in agricultural goods, fertilizers and pharma products could be encouraged further. The leaders discussed global issues including the state of the international energy and food markets. The two leaders also reviewed the implementation of the decisions taken during President Putin's visit to India in December last year. In the context of the ongoing situation in Ukraine, Prime Minister reiterated India's long-standing position in favor of dialogue and diplomacy. The leaders agreed to maintain regular consultations on global and bilateral issues. Talking to AIR News, former diplomat Ashok Sajjanhar opined that Prime Minister Modi has underlined and emphasized the role of diplomacy and dialogue in dealing with the conflict.
The Prime Minister had a conversation with the Russian President Vladimir Putin today. This conversation has come after a long time. Today in his conversation, he again underlined and emphasized the role of diplomacy and dialogue in dealing with this conflict. Over the last 4 months since the conflict started, India has pursued balanced policy without joining either of the two sides. We have very firmly safeguarded our strategic autonomy. We have continued to have excellent relations with the Western countries. This is demonstrated by Prime Minister's participation in the Quad Summits, virtual Quad Summit in March this year, in-person Quad Summit in May, and then participation in the G7 last month. But also we have continued to strengthen our cooperation and collaboration with Russia by importing oil from there to meet our energy security needs. So this conversation today between Prime Minister Modi and President Putin was once again an indication that India is pursuing independent policy, a free policy, and basically to promote peace, security, stability in the region and in the world.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has congratulated Yair Lapid for assuming the premiership of Israel. In a tweet, Mr. Modi said he is looking forward to continue furthering the strategic partnership between India and Israel as both the nations celebrate 30 years of full diplomatic relations. The Prime Minister also thanked outgoing Prime Minister of Israel, Naftali Bennett, for being a true friend of India. Mr. Modi said that he cherished all his fruitful interactions with Bennett and wished him success in his new role.
The monsoon session of Parliament will begin on the 18th of this month and will continue up to the 12th of August. The Lok Sabha Secretariat said the session will have 18 sittings. The monsoon session of Parliament usually starts on the 3rd week of July and conclude by the end of the 2nd week of August. The presidential election will also be held on the 18th of this month. The vice presidential election will be held on the 6th of August. The counting of votes for both the constitutional posts will be held in the Parliament House. The newly elected president will be administered the oath of office at the Central Hall of Parliament on the 25th of this month. Newly elected vice president will take oath on the 11th of August. The two-day BJP executive meeting will begin tomorrow in Hyderabad. The meeting, which is being held in Hyderabad after 18 years, will focus on party strategies to further strengthen the party, especially in the southern states. Party General Secretary Tarun Chugh informed media that party office bearers will be meeting tomorrow morning, while the executive meeting will begin after Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Home Minister Amit Shah and others reach Hyderabad tomorrow. Ahead of the BJP Executive Committee meeting, the party General Secretaries will meet Party President JP Nadda tonight in Hyderabad. He further informed all Morcha leaders will also have meetings ahead of the executive meeting. He informed that 340 delegates will be attending the meeting, including 18 chief ministers and top leaders of the party. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will hold a massive rally on the 3rd of July in Hyderabad. The rally is expected to be based on the theme of local culture and tradition. Mr. Chugh added that the BJP's national executive meeting is being held in Hyderabad at a time when the party is trying to make inroads in the state, whereas the K. Chandrasekhar Rao-led ruling TRS is working to cobble an alliance to challenge the Saffron Party at the national level. He further said political resolution will focus on current political scenario in the country. In the meantime, BJP President JP Nadda has arrived at Hyderabad International Airport this evening ahead of the two-day National Executive Committee to be commencing from tomorrow. The party cadres have accorded a rousing reception to the party chief. Union Culture Minister Kishan Reddy, Rajya Sabha member Dr. K. Lakshman, Lok Sabha members of the party and party senior leaders are among them who welcomed the party chief. The party leaders have taken a massive rally from the airport to Samshabad. The BJP president has inaugurated an exhibition reflecting Telangana culture and customs. Telangana freedom fighters and other key personalities who contributed for Telangana have been prominently displayed.
Union Minister of State for Information and Broadcasting and Fisheries Minister Dr. L. Murugan and Tamil actress Khushbu took part in the BJP Sampark Abhiyan at Nered Met of Malkajgiri Assembly constituency this evening in Hyderabad. As part of Party Sampark Abhiyan, they took part in the meet and greet with Tamil language people. They interacted with the BJP cadres and local leaders. The minister appealed to party cadres to strive for strengthening party in Telangana state. Maharashtra Chief Minister Eknath Shinde has said that his government will make all efforts to ensure that farmers across the state become more prosperous and are not forced to commit suicide under any circumstances. Today, being Maharashtra Krishi Divas, Mr. Shinde said the government will speed up long-pending irrigation and water department projects so that there is no scarcity of water in farmland. Speaking to reporters, the Chief Minister said that he believed that projects like Jal Yukt Shivar would help in increasing water supply for irrigation and farming purposes. Talking about the upcoming session of the Maharashtra Assembly on the 3rd and 4th July, Mr. Shinde said that he was confident about proving his majority. He said MLAs currently staying in Goa will return to Maharashtra tomorrow. On shifting the metro car shed to Are, Mr. Shinde said the decision has been taken after thorough consideration and for the benefit of Mumbaikars. He said timely completion of projects is a priority to ensure that the taxpayers' money does not go waste.
Maharashtra BJP Chief Chandrakant Patil has clarified that Devendra Fadnavis agreed to be a part of the government to ensure better governance as the party is interested in the development of the state. Addressing a press conference in Mumbai, the BJP chief said the newly appointed Chief Minister, Mr. Eknath Shinde, requested Mr. Fadnavis to join the government considering his vast administrative experience, following which the matter was discussed with the party's central leadership. Mr. Patil said the party then asked Mr. Fadnavis to accept the post of Deputy Chief Minister and work towards fulfillment of the people's expectations in terms of pending infrastructure and irrigation projects, OBC and Maratha reservation, among others. Mr. Fadnavis accepted the party's directions and has made party workers proud, he added. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has said that there has been a steady increase in GST collection, and in June 2022, the collections are up by 56% to over 1,44 lakh crore rupees. Addressing the 5th GST Day celebration in New Delhi today, Ms. Sitharaman said 1.4 lakh crore rupees is the rough bottom line, and the monthly GST collections are not going below that. She said June gross GST collection is the second highest collection after April this year. The finance minister said GST has removed desecration to a large extent. Minister of State for Finance Pankaj Chaudhary said GST has reformed the tax system. He congratulated taxpayers and officers for successfully implementing the idea of one nation, one tax. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has lauded the GST on marking 5 years, saying this is a major tax reform. Mr. Modi said GST has furthered ease of doing business and fulfilled the vision of one nation, one tax.
Union Health Minister Dr. Mansukh Mandaviya has stressed on the need to prepare a roadmap for pharmacopoeia sector, focusing on international trade, indigenous industries and global market. He said pharmacopoeia is important to develop a Swasthya and Samruddha Bharat by maintaining standard quality of medical products, vaccines, medicines and equipment. The minister said this while chairing Indian Pharmacopoeia Commission Conference 2022 in New Delhi today. The theme of this year's conference was Addressing Medicine Quality for Future. Dr. Mandaviya said India has become pharmacy of the world by specializing in generic medicine formulation and manufacturing and by supplying affordable medicine to the world. He said till today, 4 countries, Afghanistan, Ghana, Nepal and Mauritius, have accepted Indian pharmacopoeia as a book of standards. The minister added that we should make a roadmap and move forward so that more countries accept our pharmacopoeia. He said India is the world's largest supplier of generic medication and accounts for 20% of the worldwide supply of generics by volume. The government has warned EdTech, that is education and technology companies, against unfair trade practices. Consumer Affairs Secretary Rohit Kumar Singh today held a meeting with self-regulatory body India EdTech Consortium, which runs under the aegis of Internet and Mobile Association of India in New Delhi. Mr. Singh said that if self-regulation does not curb the unfair trade practices, then government will formulate stringent guidelines for ensuring transparency.
Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar has said that transformation has come in the lives of farmers and agriculture sector in the last 8 years. Mr. Tomar said this after inaugurating the DD Kisan Channel studio at Krishi Bhavan in New Delhi. He said there are a large number of farmers in the country who can easily interface through DD News and DD Kisan channels. He says this channel acts as a bridge between the government and the farmers, with the aim that farmers should connect with technology and shift towards remunerative crops and reap profit. The Indian Institute of Entrepreneurship Guwahati has signed an MOU with the Incubation and Enterprise Support Center of Indian Institute of Management, Shillong, in New Delhi to boost the entrepreneurial ecosystem in the northeastern region. The objective of this partnership is to encourage entrepreneurship, incubation and startups in the northeastern region. Secretary in Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship Rajesh Agrawal has said this partnership will help create an atmosphere where startups and entrepreneurs can flourish in the Northeast region.
The central government has approved a proposal of the Journalist Welfare Scheme Committee to provide financial relief to the families of 35 journalists who lost their lives. This includes 16 families of journalists who died of COVID-19. The families will be provided with assistance up to 5 lakh rupees. The Journalist Welfare Scheme JWS Committee, headed by Secretary, Information and Broadcasting Ministry Apurva Chandra, also recommended assistance to 2 journalists suffering from permanent disability and to 5 journalists for their medical treatment of major ailments as per the JWS guidelines. The committee has approved a total assistance of 1,81 lakh rupees during the meeting. The Defence Research and Development Organization, DRDO, today successfully carried out the maiden flight of autonomous flying wing technology demonstrator from Aeronautical Test Range at Chitradurg in Karnataka. With this success, India's secretive unmanned combat aerial vehicle, UCAV program, under which a technology demonstrator called Stealth Wing Flying Test Bed, SWIFT, is being developed, reaching a milestone. Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh has congratulated DRDO. He said it is a major achievement towards autonomous aircraft and will pave the way for Atmanirbhar Bharat in terms of critical military systems.
Ban on manufacture, import, stocking, distribution, sale and use of identified single-use plastic items has come into force from today across the country. Single-use plastic are those items that are used only once and discarded. The items covered under the ban include earbuds with plastic sticks for balloons, plastic flags, candy sticks, ice cream sticks, polystyrene, thermocol for decoration, plastic plates, plastic cups, plastic glasses and plastic cutlery. The Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change has said national and state level control rooms will be set up for checking illegal manufacture, import, stocking, distribution, sale and use of single-use plastic for the effective enforcement of the ban. Union Environment Minister Bhupendra Yadav said the historical step will be instrumental in realizing the vision of Prime Minister Narendra Modi of a plastic-free India.
Today marks a very important day in realizing the vision of clean and green India of Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji. The single-use plastic ban comes into effect from today. This historical step will be instrumental in realizing the vision of plastic-free India.
Talking to AIR News, environmentalist Dr. Ravindra Keval highlighted the government's efforts in dealing with plastic waste that remains untreated in the environment.
The Government of India has recognized this as a major problem, and the state has been given a specific fund under Swachh Bharat Mission. So awareness to action was the key initiative, then sustainable alternative to plastic was highlighted, and again all stakeholders and specifically school children were engaged so that we can work out about the plastic waste management and its sustainable solution. So further, the states were invited for their key innovation, means how they can address the waste problem, and plastic waste material is being used for building roads or other alternatives. Like in India, we have almost 6,000 kilometer road is built using plastic recovered from such waste. There are initiatives where if you bring certain amount of plastic waste, you can earn.
Dr. Keval also explained about the harmful effects of plastic on the ecosystem.
We need to understand that the plastic waste has spread to our whole ecosystem. It reduces soil fertility. It is a byproduct of fossil fuel. And when it is dumped on a land, basically it generates toxic leachate. So it has high carbon footprint, which is posing risk to our marine life. So the release of toxins, threat to oceans, because of its non-biodegradable nature, it has entered to our food chain and which is causing several diseases to us. So this ban will foster innovation in terms of bringing new products which are biodegradable and having, you can say, less impact on the environment. So let's support through our individual action as a part of society, and we follow the norms set by the Government of India.
You are listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi speaks with Russian President Vladimir Putin over telephone. Exchange ideas to further bilateral trade in agricultural goods, fertilizers and pharma products. Monsoon session of Parliament to begin on the 18th of this month. Two-day BJP executive meeting to begin tomorrow in Hyderabad to focus on strengthening the party, especially in the southern states. Special session of Maharashtra State Legislative Assembly rescheduled to be held on 3rd and 4th of July. Government stresses on the need to prepare roadmap for pharmaceutical sector focusing on global market. Afghanistan, Ghana, Nepal and Mauritius accept Indian pharmacopoeia as the book of standards. Centre grants financial assistance of 5 lakh rupees to 35 families of journalists under Journalist Welfare Scheme. Defence Research and Development Organization successfully carries out maiden flight of autonomous flying wing technology demonstrator from Aeronautical Test Range at Chitradurg in Karnataka. World-famous Rath Yatra of Lord Jagannath begins in Puri, Odisha. President, Vice President and Prime Minister greet people on the occasion. In women's cricket, India Eves defeat Sri Lanka by 4 wickets in first ODI of the 3-match series at Pallikele International Stadium. And in men's cricket, India dig deep to restore their innings after top-order batting collapse in rescheduled 5th Test match at Birmingham. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
अपने बिजनेस को बढ़ाने के लिए लीजिए आकाशवाणी का सहयोग और दीजिए उसे बुलंदियों के पंख।
आपका बिजनेस लोकल है या राष्ट्रीय, आकाशवाणी देती है उपभोक्ताओं तक पहुंचने का हर विकल्प।
और अब तो आप घर, दफ्तर या दुकान पर बैठे बैठे कर सकते हैं आकाशवाणी के किसी भी केंद्र के लिए विज्ञापनों की बुकिंग।
आकाशवाणी के विभिन्न चैनलों पर विज्ञापन देना सुलभ और सस्ता।
बुकिंग है तो संपर्क करें 8700014242 पर।
8700014242।
कंपटीशन की अगर आप कर रहे हैं तैयारी, तो उनके लिए ऑल इंडिया रेडियो पर हम लाए हैं अभ्यास, एक ऐसा कार्यक्रम जिसमें आप पूछेंगे सवाल व्हाट्सएप नंबर 9289094044 पर या फिर ईमेल करेंगे abhyas.airnews@gmail.com पर और हमारे विशेषज्ञ देंगे इसका जवाब। आपका अभ्यास हमारा प्रयास।
Welcome back. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will visit Bhimavaram in Andhra Pradesh and Gandhinagar in Gujarat coming Monday. He will launch the year-long 125th birth anniversary celebration of legendary freedom fighter Alluri Sitarama Raju and unveil his 30 feet tall bronze statue in Bhimavaram in the morning. In Gandhinagar, Mr. Modi will inaugurate the Digital India Week 2022 with the theme Catalyzing New India's Decade in the evening. During the program, the Prime Minister will launch multiple digital initiatives, including Digital India Bhashini and Digital India Genesis, aimed at enhancing accessibility of technology, streamlining service delivery to ensure ease of living, and giving a boost to startups. He will also dedicate a few schemes to the citizens, including My Scheme, a service discovery platform facilitating access to government schemes. Mr. Modi will also announce the first cohort of 30 institutions to be supported under the Chips to Startup, that is C2S program. The holy city of Odisha, Puri, is celebrating the world-famous festival Rath Yatra with joy and enthusiasm. All the 3 chariots reached at Sri Gundicha Temple, Puri. According to servitors, it is for the first time in many years that the chariots have reached Sarada Bali at least 4 hours before schedule. Even as the chariots are stationed near the Sri Gundicha temple, last of the devotees continued to have the darshan of the deities atop the raths. In Gujarat, the 145th annual Rath Yatra of Lord Jagannath was held in Ahmedabad amidst tight security arrangements. The chariots of Lord Jagannath, followed by elder brother Lord Baldev and sister Devi Subhadra, travelled during the day on 18 kilometers of its traditional route. The Rath Yatra began early this morning from the 400-year-old historic Lord Jagannath Temple in Jamalpur area of the old city. The Rath Yatra, or Chariot Festival, is traditionally celebrated by Hindus on the second day of Shukla Paksh of the month Ashad. Earlier, Gujarat Chief Minister Bhupendra Patel performed the Pahind rituals, the symbolic path cleaning of chariot of Lord Jagannath at the temple before the start of the procession. Union Home Minister Amit Shah also performed Mangal Aarti at the temple early this morning.
President Ramnath Kovind, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu and Prime Minister Narendra Modi have greeted people on the occasion of the Rath Yatra. In a tweet, Mr. Kovind wished that with the blessings of Mahaprabhu Jagannath, there will be happiness, peace and prosperity in everyone's life. In a tweet, Mr. Naidu said, the Rath Yatra of Odisha, depicting the annual journey of Lord Jagannath, witnesses the coming together of the entire community in celebration of the grace and divinity of the Lord. In a tweet, the Prime Minister said, we pray to Lord Jagannath for his constant blessings. He hoped that everyone is blessed with good health and happiness.
Sports news now, but in cricket, India Eves defeated Sri Lanka by 4 wickets in the first ODI of the 3-match series at Pallekele International Stadium and took 1-0 lead. Chasing a victory target of 172 runs, India achieved the target in 38 overs. Visitors scored 176 for 6 wickets. Skipper Harmanpreet Kaur remained the top scorer with 44 runs. In cricket, India were 174 in 5 wickets against England on day 1 in the rescheduled 5th Test match at Edgbaston, Birmingham, when reports last came in. India lead the Test series against England 2-1. Earlier, the hosts won the toss and elected to field in the rain-disturbed first day.
And the stock market, sparing its early gains, key indices ended marginally lower in a choppy trade today. A report from the business desk.
At the stock market, Sensex at the Bombay Stock Exchange fell by 111 points, 0.2%, to end at 52,908 points today. Nifty at the National Stock Exchange shed 28 points, 0.2%, to close at 15,752. At the foreign exchange market, the rupee weakened by 7 paise to 79 rupees and 4 paise against the US dollar. Gold shot up by 1,088 rupees to 51,458 rupees per 10 grams at Delhi's bullion market. And Brent crude oil futures climbed $2.07 to trade at $111.10 a barrel. Arjun Chaudhary for AIR News.
In Manipur, 13 bodies have been found and retrieved from the debris of the landslide in Noni districts, making the number of dead persons in the incident to 20. Meanwhile, the rescue and relief work has been on the second day at Mahoam landslide area of Noni district. The rescue operation began yesterday morning. The Joint Task Force comprising Army, Assam Rifles, NDRF, SDRF, CRPF, Army medical doctors, local villagers, State Police and others are working day and night on the spot in the rescue work.
Now let us have a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. National capital Delhi is expected to have a generally cloudy sky with light rain. The minimum temperature will be around 25 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be 34 degrees. Mumbai will have a generally cloudy sky with moderate rain. The minimum temperature will be 25 degrees Celsius and the maximum will be 30 degrees. Kolkata will have a generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. The minimum temperature will be around 26 degrees Celsius and the maximum will be 33 degrees. Chennai will have a generally cloudy sky with light rain. The minimum temperature will be 26 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 36 degrees. Srinagar and Muzaffarabad will have a mainly clear sky becoming partly cloudy towards evening or night. The minimum temperature will be around 20 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 32 degrees. Jammu will have thunderstorm with rain. Leh and Gilgit will have a mainly clear sky. In Hyderabad, Bengaluru and Thiruvananthapuram, rain or thunder showers would occur towards evening or night. In the northeast, Guwahati, Imphal, Aizawl, Shillong, Itanagar, Gangtok and Kohima will have a generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi speaks with Russian President Vladimir Putin over telephone, exchange ideas to further bilateral trade in agricultural goods, fertilizers and pharma products. Monsoon session of Parliament to begin on the 18th of this month. 2-day BJP executive meeting to begin tomorrow in Hyderabad to focus on strengthening the party, especially in the southern states. Special session of Maharashtra State Legislative Assembly rescheduled to be held on the 3rd and 4th of July. Government stresses on the need to prepare roadmap for pharmaceutical sector focusing on global markets. Afghanistan, Ghana, Nepal and Mauritius accept Indian pharmacopoeia as a book of standards. Centre grants financial assistance of 5 lakh rupees to the 35 families of journalists under Journalist Welfare Scheme. Defence Research and Development Organization successfully carries out Maiden flight of autonomous flying wing technology demonstrator from Aeronautical Test Range at Chitradurg in Karnataka. World-famous Rath Yatra of Lord Jagannath begins in Puri, Odisha. President, Vice President and Prime Minister greet people on the occasion. In women's cricket, India Eves defeats Sri Lanka by 4 wickets in the first ODI of the 3-match series at Palakkele International Stadium. And with that, we end the morning news.